Captain, before we step onto this age and belonging island, tell me, what does child make you feel when it means a young person, someone's son or daughter, and a person described by a quality, time, or place they strongly belong to? Meaning one, a young person, used for a human being who is not yet an adult. Example: the child watched the waves with wonder from the harbor wall. Common use: young child, small child, child at play. Child by the sea, meaning two, someone's son or daughter, used for the family relationship even when the person is older. Example: she was the only child of the old lighthouse keeper. Common use: only child, eldest child, beloved child. Only child. Meaning three, a person strongly shaped by a quality, time, or place, used figuratively for someone described as belonging deeply to an era, land, or way of life. Example: he was a child of the sea and never felt at home inland. Common use: child of nature, child of the city, child of the sea. Child of the sea. Child most commonly means a young person, but it also very often means someone's son or daughter in a family sense, even when that person is fully grown. In figurative English, it can describe a person deeply shaped by a place, time, or quality. Read youth, family, and belonging with care, Captain. Carry child for the young life still growing toward the world, for the son or daughter held inside a family story, and for the soul shaped so deeply by a place or spirit that it seems born from it as we sail to the next island. Captain, before we step onto this ending and loss island, tell me, what does death make you feel when it means the end of life, the state of being destroyed or brought to an end, and a powerful figurative way of describing total silence, stillness, or final loss? Meaning one, the end of life. Used when a person, animal, or living thing dies. Example: the old sailor spoke quietly about the death of his first captain. Common use: cause of death, death of a person, fear of death. Remembering after death, meaning two, the destruction or ending of something. Used more broadly when an idea, tradition, hope, or system comes to an end. Example: many feared the death of the old harbor trade after the new laws arrived. Common use: death of a dream, death of a tradition, death of the old system. Death of the old trade, meaning three, a strong figurative way to describe total silence, stillness, or final loss. Used in powerful expression when something feels completely gone, empty, or without life. Example: after midnight, a deathly silence covered the harbor. Common use: silence like death, deathly stillness, near death of hope. Deathly silence. Death is a very serious and emotionally heavy word. Its most direct meaning is the end of life. It can also be used more broadly for the end of a system, tradition, dream, or period. In figurative language, it often adds strong force to silence, stillness, or total loss. Read endings with care and respect, Captain. Carry death for the final end of living breath, for the loss that closes an era or hope, and for the deep stillness that makes absence feel almost physical as we sail to the next island. Captain, before we step onto this cause and result island, tell me, what does consequence make you feel when it means the result of an action, an effect that follows from a cause, and an important outcome that may carry serious weight? Meaning 1, the result of an action. Used for what happens after someone does something. Example, the broken mast was the consequence of sailing in reckless wind. Common use. Face the consequence, natural consequence, direct consequence. Direct consequence. Meaning 2, an effect that follows from a cause. Used when one event leads to another in a clear chain. Example, the flooding was a consequence of the blocked harbor drain. Common use. Consequence of failure, consequence of change, as a consequence. Consequence of blockage. Meaning 3, an important outcome with serious weight or impact. Used when the result matters a great deal and may affect people deeply. Example, the captain warned that one careless delay could have grave consequences. Common use, serious consequence, grave consequence, consequence for everyone. Grave consequences. Consequence often means the result that comes after an action or event. Sometimes it is neutral, but very often it carries a serious tone, especially when the result is harmful or important. Read every action through the result it leaves behind, Captain. Carry consequence for the outcome that follows a choice, for the effect born from a clear cause, and for the serious result that reminds us some moments shape far more than themselves as we sail to the next island. Captain, before we step onto this solid and clear island, tell me, what does concrete make you feel when it means the hard building material, something real and specific rather than vague, and an idea or word connected to things we can directly see or touch? Meaning 1, a hard building material made from cement, sand, stone, and water. Used for the strong material used in roads, walls, floors, and buildings. Example, the workers poured concrete for the new harbor path. Common use, concrete wall, concrete floor, pour concrete. Pour concrete. Meaning 2, real, clear, and specific, not vague or abstract. Used when something is exact and practical enough to be clearly understood or acted on. Example, the team needed concrete steps, not empty promises. Common use, concrete plan, concrete evidence, concrete result. Concrete plan, meaning 3. In language and learning, connected to things we can directly see, touch, or experience. Used for words or ideas that refer to physical things rather than abstract ones. Example: boat is a concrete noun, but freedom is not. Common use, concrete noun, concrete object, concrete example. Concrete noun. Concrete can be a noun or an adjective. As a noun, it means the building material. As an adjective, it often means clear, real, and specific, or connected to physical things in language and thought. Choose what is solid, clear, and real, Captain. Carry concrete for the building material that hardens into strength, for the specific plan that turns thought into action, and for the word or idea tied to the visible world we can touch and know as we sail to the next island. Captain, before we step onto this peace and wait island, tell me, what does chunk make you feel when it means a thick, solid piece of something, a large part broken off from a whole, and an amount or section treated as one unit? Meaning 1, a thick, solid piece of something. Used for a heavy, rough, or clearly shaped piece cut or broken from something. Example: a chunk of ice drifted beside the old harbor wall. Common use, chunk of wood, chunk of ice, chunk of bread. Chunk of ice, meaning 2, a large part broken off or taken from a whole. Used when one big section comes away from something larger. Example: a chunk of the cliff fell into the sea after the storm. Common use, a chunk of land, a chunk of rock, lose a chunk. Cliff chunk lost, meaning 3, an amount, block, or section treated as one unit. Used for time, money, text, or work divided into one noticeable part. Example: they finished a big chunk of the repairs before sunset. Common use, chunk of time, chunk of work, large chunk of text. Big chunk done. Chunk usually suggests something thick, solid, or noticeably large as one piece. It can be physical, like ice or rock, or more abstract, like time, work, or text. The core idea stays the same. A chunk is one big piece that stands out clearly from the whole. See the whole by understanding its large pieces, Captain. Carry chunk for the thick, solid piece you can almost feel in the hand, for the large section broken from something greater, and for the clear unit of work or time that makes a heavy task easier to face as we sail to the next island.